Hello, everyone. Well, this is the second week, or going into the second week of November. And because I do this ahead of time, I don't know if we've gotten the results yet, just because of such an odd place to be in this particular kind of election and the challenges that might be coming up. So I'm just going to continue to move on and hope you're all doing well. All right, second week of November. Again, repeat, repeat, repeat. Let's start looking at how we can unify now and move forward now that hopefully the decision has been made. And if it hasn't, then we're still holding space for that. All right. So I'd like to go to Amanda Ellis's Metatron deck first. Actually, I'm going to spray myself with some Metatron. Hold on. My dear friend Anne that gifted me with this Archangel Metatron spray. So I am going to use it. I'm going to spray some around all of you, because some of you may be feeling pressure right now or feel like you need some healing. All right. Let's see what the second week of November is going to bring. Huh, interesting. Okay, the card is Higher Realms and Magic. So I would be willing to say that even Spirit has its hands full right now. You have decided, or we have decided, perhaps we've made our decision. Hopefully we all voted. We got to that new place of whatever it is, and the universe is definitely doing some cleanup right now. So, and what calls to me is the violet flame. You all know that Saint Germain discovered or gave us the violet consuming flame as a way to change things down here. It's a tool that every time you think of the violet consuming flame, just from calling it in, you can use it to cleanse your house, cleanse a situation, whatever it is for you. But let's see what Amanda has to say about this. I apologize in advance. Some of these, the definitions are so long. Oh, when did you stop believing in magic? As a child, you once knew that anything was possible, that dreams could come true, that spirit was real. Maybe you saw things you couldn't understand or failed to make grown-ups believe that what you could see was real. The fairies under the tree, the angels at the bed, or the relative in spirit sitting beside you. Or you may have a child in your life right now who can see and sense this. It may also be that your inner child needs to recover this sense of wonder now too. And what this calls to me is, I think because of our adult selves and the seriousness of everything we've gone through this year, and also trying to have our voice heard, I think that our inner children are probably hiding right now. So often we start believing, and then the heaviness of life can squash and diminish our ability to believe in magic and the happily ever after story. Disappointments, betrayals, loss, all leave their mark. And today you are asked once again to look up and wonder what is possible for you. The lilac ray comes to remind you that the world of magic is all around you. You are asked to release your attention from a humdrum, ordinary life and believe in something extraordinary and out of this world again, for it as real as anything else, much discovered through the layers of consciousness and light. You are asked to lift your eyes to the stars rather than looking down at the ground where you feel stuck. The realm of magic and enchantment is everywhere. The search for gold at the end of the rainbow, the glow of the moon, fairy rings, and the underworld of coral reefs, and dew on fresh grass, and twinkling stars. Doesn't that just make you smile? As children, we believed in fairy tales. We looked up to the princess and prince and sat open-mouthed at visions of fantasy. To reach the moon, man needed to have looked up and dreamed up it possible. You too need to reach higher dreams, bigger, and feel the magic of life stirring again. So here we are in that point when I say we're going to recreate what needs to happen on earth. Yeah, let's get things stirring again, believing in the angelic realm who brings much comfort and support at this time. Meditating on the lilac angelic palace of this card helps you to attune, to connect into this reality and to feel angelic presence around you. This is Metatron at his softest and most gentle and at his most magical. Lilac is also a powerful purifier. So allow it to dissolve any negativity or sadness around you, as well as any fear of opening up to the higher realms. So I like the idea they're saying meditate on it. So there it is again, like a magical castle, but all in lilac. The lilac ray asks you to question what you believe. Chosen by deeply spiritual people who are often called to serve spirit in some way, you have had moments of doubt, crisis of faith. The lilac ray will pull you magnetically back to explore more, question more, and seek deeper truths. It is your soul's calling to remind you that you are so much more than just this physical body. You are soul leading a physical life, not the other way around. Good time to remind us of that. You may also use this lilac energy to bring balance where you've been out of balance, containing both the red and blue rays. Lilac effortlessly calms and balances two separate ends of the color spectrum and can now support and heal your body, mind, and spirit. A powerful, transformative, magical ray. Connect to lilac and let it remind you that all stories start with once upon a time. So again, where this intuitively takes me to is, what's the story we want to leave for future generations? What is that story? You know, do you want to have a story where we're fighting amongst ourselves, or do you want to have a story that says, okay, whoever wins this, we're going to accept it and move forward? That's the story. Okay, so use that lilac ray. And you know, sometimes people just make it way too complex. Just call it in. Make it simple. Keep it simple. All right, next one is the Moonology by Yasmin Bolin. Let's see what this has to say. The second week of November. Step out of your comfort zone. This is the North Node. So let's see what she has to say about that. Powerful. This has to do with our purpose. There's a strong feeling when you get this card that it's time to leave the past behind somehow, because you are headed in the right direction. If you want to be happy and fulfilled, you need to go towards doing the things that scare you within reason. This card is all about living your life purpose, which is possibly what you've asked about. It's urging you to dare to do something different with your life and your direction, to take action, so you are willing to follow through and lead the life you incarnated to live. If you finally find the courage to make the leap, there's a good chance you'll come to ask yourself, why did I wait so long? And boy, that's ringing really true, that through COVID, the one good thing is that people are questioning everything. And I think it's divinely orchestrated that this happened before the election, and it's making us question, how do we want to live? Who do we want to represent us in the world, and all of that. I'm going to Rebecca Candle's Starseed Oracle. I love this because I'm a Starseed girl. Love all the galactic energies. And to think that we're the only one here doesn't work for me, because I know better. Second week of November. Called. Soul gifts and training. It's time to step up. Love this. There's a doorway that you're being called to. So what comes to my mind right away is that if you're not living your purpose or living on purpose, it's time to step up. If your life isn't working the way you want it to, it's time to recreate. And regardless of the outcome of the election, we're being called now, each and every one of us. There is no accident to who was on earth at this time. So this is saying you're being called. You came to earth with a double mission, to grow as a soul and to bring about shifting consciousness. The best way to fulfill these personal and collective purposes is to trust what it is that your soul is calling you towards, for it's encoded with the most direct path forward. Your soul has many unique gifts that it came here to share. Some of you may already be aware of, others you're just beginning to uncover. You're being called to remember that your soul intelligently chose the perfect conditions to carry out your soul mission and share your gifts. If you're being called towards a creative project, a passion, or an adventure, this card is your confirmation that you're facing the right way and that this moment right here is destined. If you're feeling unprepared or thinking, who I am to do that, sorry, the other way around, who am I to do this? This card is guiding you to step up and leap. And consider perhaps that your soul has been training for this very moment right here for lifetimes. And they give you an activation to say, or she does, place the image of the card on your heart. So I'll show it to you again. Her getting ready to walk through a doorway. I call forth the soul gifts and soul training that I've received throughout all of my lifetimes. I'm ready to embody them all now without hesitation or fear. I fully commit to being here now. I'm ready to step into my soul's highest and most potent calling. I've been training for this for lifetimes. So wow, that's a great one to say every day, and know that the right connections, if you need people, if there's resources you need, it'll all come to you in the way that it needs to. So definitely being called. And also the other thing that comes intuitively is that what are the causes you're called to? You know, for some people it's animal rights. For some people it's children's rights. For some it's about all the human trafficking. Whatever it is that you're called to get involved in, do it. Even if it's just this much, even if you say, I only have 2 hours a week to give to this, or an hour a week, your energy is needed, not so much as even what you're doing, your presence, you know, just being in a place of your presence, knowing, you know, what, by showing up, that makes a shift. Okay, again, Rebecca Campbell, Work Your Light Oracle. Second week of November. Awakening. Energetic upgrades, a new way of being, integration. What this calls to me by looking at it is like, I know it says awakening, but she looks like she's resting to me. Total surrender to spirit. Like, okay, we're done with this part of it. Now we move into a new phase, which is about healing. So I'm going to totally surrender to what is next. But also, surrender doesn't mean you don't take any action. Surrender means I'm letting go and moving into a new phase or development. So, awakening. You are going through a period of awakening. Things are changing within you at many levels. You are starting to remember ancient truths and discovering more and more about who you are and why you incarnated. You may find that you are experiencing past life flashbacks, seeing the invisible thread that is woven throughout all of life, or even feeling your Kundalini energy. The most important thing for this time is not to overthink it and to stay grounded. Share your experiences with like-soul people while you consciously integrate them. Journal and pay attention to your dreams. You are remembering and your soul gifts are emerging. During this time of transition and awakening, you may be called to devote yourself to being of service. There are ideas, truths, concepts, books, and creations waiting to be birthed from all of you into this world. Stay open to receiving them. Pulling this card may be a sign that you are here to birth one of these creations into the world. Or perhaps you are being called to make a shift in your life in order to be of service. Don't think too much about it. Instead, repeat the following activation. I surrender to my awakening. I allow the Shakti energy to rise from the base of my spine. I open myself up to the universe, using me in a way that delights my mind, body, and spirit. I love her little activations. So you can also remember that vision of surrender and then take action. Okay, I'm going back to Wisdom of the Oracle by Colette Byron Reed. What do you want to share with us, Spirit, for the second week of November? Chaos and difficult. Oh, where did I get that from? I made up a word, sorry. Chaos and conflict. I'm thinking that doesn't make sense. Okay. Chaos and conflict. And I opened right to it. Disarray, being at cross purposes with another, the tension of opposites, the value of chaos before order. Opening forces come together to create a turbulent atmosphere, but consider the value of chaos that serves you well as you become unmoored by it. Scattered to the winds, you leave behind the parts of yourself you no longer need and disperse seeds to reinvent yourself anew. Although the conflict appears to exist externally, its essence is also internal, projected outward and causing disarray. You may find yourself at cross purposes with someone else, facing a storm you feel you can't control, and yet every storm passes and chaos leads to reordering of things. Conflict provides a way to see more than one side of a situation. Look upon this as just a moment in time when you may need to take shelter and step away from the fray. Don't be too eager to fight. This is a time to understand rather than be understood. Boy, this to me again is the conflict of what's just gone on. And, you know, some people are going to be disappointed and, you know, not causing more problems after the fact that it's been decided. Can we just move on? So, and I loved how they said, or how she said, you know, the external is a reflection of the internal. Totally agree with that. And the last one is the Light Worker Oracle by Alana Fairchild. Whoa. Okay, I'm gonna take the three that just jumped out. The first one is spiritual service. We already talked about that. Look at this beautiful artwork. She is holding in her hands the world with angels around it, coming out of it. So to me, I'm not going to read all three of these. I'm going to read the last one. So we already talked about spiritual service. that we are in service, and so is everybody else that's supposed to be taking a part right now. So we have to remember that. We also have to remember that angels walk amongst us every day on earth. We're not here alone. We're not doing it alone. The next one was the fifth ray of intellectual knowledge. So here she is with, all these people confused, and they're looking up and they're looking at each other, and really, Spirit has the answer. So not always does your intellect help you. Sometimes, yes, we need the intellect to work in harmony with the heart, but sometimes this is saying it's a little bit difficult because we can't always rely on what we know intellectually. Okay? So the last one is hold your center. It's a girl in a garden that's just sitting there. It looks like she's praying, and there's a spirit above her, and above that, again, we have the dove, which represents the divine feminine. So many times the whole thing with Jesus, the divine feminine. So let's see. I'll read this one. Here you have been rushing out to meet others, trying to bend or accommodate their needs at the expense of your own well-being and inner peace. Now you are to strengthen your own energy and your own boundaries to find your ground. Firmly place your feet there and do not move. Feel your feet anchoring you like a beautiful tree. Let yourself experience quiet certainty as you hold your center with commitment, courage, and consciousness. You are learning to trust in your own instincts, to take your own journey without comparison to the life path of another. There is no need to become disheartened or distracted by comparisons or judgments. The earth needs your light, which can only come from you. You will offer so much less if you try to make it match your beauty to what you perceive to be the beauty of another. Many souls who are different and unique were not understood, acknowledged, and valued for whom they were as children. Instead, they were encouraged to conform to change, to be other than their true self, or in order to be loved. This can be a hard pattern to break, yet the time is here for you to love and honor yourself as yourself. You are beautiful. You do not need to change for another. You certainly do not need to change for the divine. You are being encouraged instead to distill your essence, to become even more of who you are. Hold your center now and do not be rattled by any other through intimidation, confrontation, doubt, jealousy, or fear. To hold your center means you accept your innate value and worth, your right to exist and thrive and adapt, the love that created you as you in order to fulfill your divine destiny. This oracle brings you confirmation you are on the right path. So there you go. So just as a reminder, summing it all up, remember magic exists and we can work this energy. And we've got to get out of our comfort zone and stretch towards our purpose, walk through the doorway, rest to awaken to the next piece. Do not let the conflict and the chaos get to you. That we have to remember we are in service right now, and that is the most important thing to make this jump of ascension, our vibration shifting and changing, and using the intellect when we can, but also discarding it when we need to listen to the heart. And most important, hold your center. Thank you so much. Hope you have a wonderful week.